Hello, guys. Welcome back. Hope you are doing well. We are heading to a new year. So, wishing you all a great 2023. Please meet my friend. He is not only my friend, but my colleague of my first company, Coros India Limited, Mushtaq Ahmed, based in Bangalore. Not only Coros, we work in a couple of companies together. No, when I was in India. Welcome, Mushtaq. Pleasure
Hi,
to
Damodar. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for accepting my invite. So today we will discuss about engineer in you. This is purely a gossip session with Mushtaq, and we have been associated, known each other since last 23 years. I joined my first company in 1996. Mushtaq joined in 1999. And since then we are all colleagues, and I can tell he's my best friend. So Mushtaq, may I request you to give a short intro? Then I have a couple of questions to ask. And if you have anything to ask me, you are most welcome to ask.
Thanks, Damodar, for such a wonderful invite to this session. And I look forward to it that we have a fruitful conversation, which will help to the viewers who are watching this channel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Mushtaq, we know we all become, I mean, all means you and me, especially if you are talking in this contest, we become accidental engineer, right? I want to hear from you, your story as an accidental engineer.
Yeah, that's the more or less well-defined term for us, because we choose engineering as an only option, because that was forced on us by our parents, by society. We were good in academics. I was good in academics. So, and since I was good in academics, so my parents and my society in general were always thinking that if you're good in academics, then you should choose engineering. And that is how, my goal and mission in life in my education period till my SLC was always to, go for engineering after I complete my SLC. And fortunately, I was good in studies and I was good in academics. I was consistently coming in the top 5 or 6 students in my class. So I also felt somewhere a belief in me that I can do it, I can pull it off. And that time, those days, the academics, when you get about 75% or 70% or first class, about 60% was a great achievement in itself, because nowadays it is like the metrics have completely changed. Now
Absolutely.
people aim for 95, 96, 99.99 is the latest people have achieved in SLC.
Correct.
So somehow, that thing was, instilled in us that we have to aim for engineering. And generally in academics, if you see that people who are good in academics, they have only two streams to choose from. Either they choose science or medicals, or they choose engineering. If you're financially very good, you incline towards going for medical or something in the field of doctorate. Or if you are well off, then you and good in academics, then most of the people nowadays go for engineering. As you can say, it is almost like the preferred education stream for most of the Indians. And that's how I also had the same career path in that. And as I went into my education, I had some financial difficulties during that point of time, because my father had an early retirement from his company. So I was a little financially side, we had little challenges at that point of time. So just completing my 10th standard, during my 11th and 12th year, during my 11th year, first year, we can say nowadays, first year PUC,
Yeah.
I had a Diwali vacation. So during that vacation, I just had a 1 month leave in that during that vacation. So
Okay.
I was so eager to learn things that I thought, what will I do in this 1 month? So I just went about searching for courses that were there in some short-term courses that were there 1 month, 2 months. So I went to a training center in my locality and find out there were so many courses listed, and there was only one course that was listed for a month. That was tailoring.
Wow.
So since I was having only 1 month time, so I just out of the tick, I said, okay, let's go for tailoring. I enrolled myself at that time in the year 1986. The fees was only 600 rupees, for 200 rupees for a month.
Whatever.
And I enrolled myself. I went into it. I I went with complete interest, and within a month, whatever was prescribed in the course, I did everything. Okay, I learned everything, and with that learning, I was able to, and then I was very interested in that particular field. I was also challenged by the people that it is not a skill that you can learn so easily. But somewhere, I was so interested, and I had to prove myself. Within a span of about, say, 4 to 5 months, I pick up that skill. I enhance, and I did some lot of mistakes during my initial period. I spoiled my clothes of myself, my brother, my father, and one of my elder brother's relatives. But that were learning experiences. And finally, I mastered the skill to some extent, say about 80%. And then during other colleagues in my college came to know that I'm doing tailoring. So they also, and I was charging less because I was a ready-made access to them. So I want to attract more customers. So they had entrusted to me that, okay, this guy can stitch our clothes, and they were also fond of some new styles and new things. So that's how the journey began. And within a span of 1 year, I became a full-fledged gents tailor. I could stitch all the gents except the coat making. And if I define engineering on a basic sense, engineering is the application of maths and science to create something or to solve our problems. Means we are all engineers. Engineers do what? They either create, innovate, or they solve problems, or they help in innovation. Like if a scientist has designed certain things on paper, but to give it a realistic look, engineers have to work on each aspect of it physically and bring it into reality. That is one aspect of engineering. And the other aspect is of to solve problems of already created innovation. Like there will be problems in that, and engineers have to solve it. So with this, if I say that engineering, I could say that engineering was already in me, which helped me, like, I could look back that the tailoring, tailoring is that, like, you can describe into two intelligences, if you say. One is the abstract intelligence, the mathematical intelligence. The tailoring is like when you draw open a piece of cloth, and when you try to cut it into different shapes as per requirement, you use pure mathematical calculations and logics, and use some drawings and connect them, and you cut that particular material. And then requires science, the skill. When you have to visualize, you have to stitch the cloth in such a way that it fits properly, all the things together.
Really?
And then you create, something called a pant or a shirt. There are some nuisances to it, which you learn, part of the trick of the trade, which you learn as doing it. So this is how my journey began, and this particular skill that I learned helped me a lot to pursue my education in engineering. In fact, without this, I would have never been possible for me to pursue this engineering as such. So this part, and going ahead, engineering, academics also, I excelled, and the time came, like in my journey, where people thought, now since you are already knowing a skill, you are earning, you should choose this stream and not pursue engineering. But I said, this was just a means to achieve that dream. This is going to be there. This skill is going to be there in my life, and still it is there. You can see that the cloth that I'm wearing right now, this is called the Pathani or something. It's stitched by me only. I still pursue that passion. I still stitch my clothes, my children's clothes, and some family members who are very near to me. I find some time to stitch clothes for them. So this skill is still with me. It has not gone away. So this is what, my journey to become an engineer. I expect that you also share something of that.
Absolutely.
Of your journey.
Thank you, Mushtaq. Yeah, so the moment you are actually explaining, I was actually, flashing back to my high school, then I will come back to our first company, then engineering you, right? So, I don't know whether I have said it earlier with you. My high school name is called Ghumusar Technical High School. It is established in 1948. So in high school, I remember, I think 8th standard, we used to do super carpentry work. Carpenter. I mean, really, we used to cut the woods on a hexa, and we used to create small table chair, So yeah, and our teacher was so strict that if you miss it, then you will be literally beaten. And those days, I mean, it's a different, right? So that actually helped us to actually, mold ourselves, what we should after, let's say, high school, right? So in my childhood also, yeah, I was having financial crisis, and I was topper in my school. I mean, in high school, district rank, comp one, state rank, But because of the financial crisis, yeah, I also become an accidental engineer. I got into a government engineering school. I had my diploma engineering, electronics and communication, and then we all know, I mean, how we progress in our career. So in between also, I was selected for Air Force, airman, technical. They normally take it if you are good in academic, especially 10th, and they normally consider. So after my diploma engineering, I was selected, but somehow I didn't go because of some family pressure on mom's concern. So I stayed back, right? So engineering U is always with me. As I told you, starting from, let's say, high school, let's say, for carpentry work, and those days we are not so privileged. So let's say cycle repairing, we used to do ourselves, right? And like you talk about the tailoring, now it's a fashion technology, right? Costume, we call it, no clothes, we don't call it that. Then the moment I got into the job, the kind of respect uh, I got, especially into banking and office option industry, right? I was recently chatting in LinkedIn with Sunil Unisha, right? He has put some point of view recently, last week. Sunil Unisha is in US, and he put something on the banking automation, core banking, something like that. Who put it? I commented, and suddenly flash back to our Koros days, right? I remember, KG Menon, Sunil Uni, Sanjay Patil, Muralidhar Butra. They are the people actually behind my success as an engineer.
Mane,
And they,
sir.
sorry, Mr.
Mane, sir also.
Yeah, Mane sir, right? Dot sir,
Vikram.
Mitra ji, so absolutely. I mean, these are the past company. Why there are many. I mean, we are not able to take those names, but there are the people who actually they are behind our success. And the engineer in you, even after leaving company, let's say I left 2005, almost 17 years, still you are talking about that company, right? So that actually is always there with me, and I see in you as well. And you see, as we all know, I mean, engineering is part of our life, right? So if I flip back the question to you, let's say engineering is part of everybody's life, right? So what is your uh, view on it?
See, engineering is just one aspect, and what we can derive from our communication experience is that the the business aspect of engineering also is very important. Like what we do has to be sustainable, has to bring money to the table. Correct? If we are applying engineering, if we are working as an engineer, ultimately our job is to solve problems or to create things and earn revenue for the organization or revenue for our own self. So since we talk about our our experiences in our childhood or during our education, like I was into tailoring, I was
Yeah.
handling customers, I had some business sense that if I'm applying this much of time, I'm using this much time of time towards tailoring, I'll be earning this much money. So that money part, that earning part, the business part, which you can say right now, is very important aspect of engineering. What actually the problem today is that there are so many engineers that are coming out of the
Yeah.
educational institute, but in today's current time, but this business part is very important. I
Yeah.
think there should be something like that. People should be forced or they should be motivated to run some small
Yes.
businesses on their own with some capital so that they have a live experience of that. So to balance the scale, engineering is pure knowledge. You know how to apply, but you also need to have some business sense to it to make it palatable, to make it grow. And our growth lies in being useful to our organizations.
Absolutely.
If we started a career as an engineer, we were able to solve problems efficiently, we were productive, and that is the reason why we grew in the organization.
Yeah.
And if I see people today that when they come in the organization, they don't have any knowledge about productivity, they don't have knowledge about time utilization, they don't have anything about the business sense. Like they are, the only thing in their mind is the salary that they will get. But how the salary will be worked out and they will get the salary is not clarity in their mind. So I think this is what my learning from it is, that the business sense with engineering is very important. If you
Absolutely.
see other streams like commerce is completely a business field, right? They
Yeah.
teach you about business calculations, transactions, where the money will come, where the money will go, debit, credit, the money in hand, the money with the clients, recovery, lab, all these are business terms. but these are more or less not there in engineering. Even if it is there, it is like as a subject. We learn, we go to the examination, we put it on paper and forget. It has to be real time. So I think that is also this important point, which is a success to our accidental engineer journey, you can say, which became fruitful for us.
Absolutely.
Correct? We were accidental, but in the due course of time, we became aware, and we then utilized the knowledge that we had, and we had the results in front of us. We grew in our career.
Agree. Yeah, absolutely. I remember the moment you talk about the commercial business, because our past company, I mean, we both are fortunate to work there, right? In the first company, first day, we got a chance to interact with client, and clients are all banking and office automation product client, and it is not only for installation or service, from the day one or month one, we started learning about the business, let's say annual maintenance contract, service contract, right? And selling of consumables, accessories, right? So these are the business transaction we did early stage of, right? So that actually has given us a experience to learn along, rightly you said, like learning is by doing, right? So exactly we learned that, and I remember I was there only 4-5 years into a typical engineer repairing machines, let's say till ATM or banking, I never done in photocopier machine, but I did in, let's say, franking or the banking automation, right? Encoder, currency counting, checkbook dispenser, those machines I'm coming to my mind quickly, So after that, we got into all commercial, right? We become a, let's say, service in charge, service head, right? And we interact with large customers, banking customer. I remember when I started my career in Bombay, came to Bhubaneswar, then I took a short, what do you call, not a gap. I joined a company, again I came back to, again my course, right? Went back to Hyderabad and handle a large service operation, right? And those days, services are not the cost center, it was a profit center, right? So we become the P&L owner, right? Though there is a branch manager, but we used to call ourselves branch maintenance manager. We are a P&L owner of the service, right? So that has actually given us a lot of exposure experience, talking with corporate client, negotiation, contract negotiation, a lot of things happened, right? So yeah, so again, let me throw back another question, right? I mean, I think learning is by doing, right? I mean, exactly, we did it, right? From there, again, our journey started. We work in a couple of other companies like IT, ITS, peripheral, right? The consumer electronics, right? Telecom, so largely. And yeah, I mean, as I have mentioned, this is a student series. So anything coming to your mind where you want to share your knowledge, your experience, and how the new gen, or new G, we call it, right? The students, they should prepare themselves, right? The engineering we are talking, when we started our career, let's say 26, 27 years ago, still that engineering you still alive, right? So what is your suggestion to the engineers coming out of college?
Yeah. Now that I just said accidental engineer, so everything that was happening in our life, in our journey, was pretty much accidental, and we were like on the way in our journey. We were working out, we were taking actions, correct? We were taking actions to overcome those challenges and resolve problems. So if I look back, like you had exposure and experience in repairing and encoding machines and cash counting machines and other banking products.
Yeah.
My career started with the photocopying machine.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I look back and how I was able to apply engineering logic, see, engineering is something abstract knowledge, which when you apply in real-time scenario, you try to create solutions for that. Okay. So I think the greatest asset that I had was the ability to visualize things, which I was not aware. For me, at that point of time, visualization, or what you call picturization of certain events in the past, was seen by me as negative. Like, I was not aware for me. So I was able to visualize things. I was able to visualize them as they happen. It was so clear and precise like that. No, it's a very, very, like, visualization is actually a very important tool for all of us. How you visualize the past and the future, both you can visualize. So we were actually visualizing more of the past and less of the future. So if we visualize more of the future, we become innovators. Correct? We start contributing and if we apply engineering to it, if we are seeing the future, visualizing them, apply engineering logics to it, we become innovators. We plan and we create design to create them. Correct. So my growth as an engineer was because of the, whenever I used to go to a machine, you can see a machine all covered up, right?
Yeah.
And you face a problem. So when I used to face a problem, I used to run the machine how it runs. You have a three-dimensional view of the machine.
Yeah.
How it is supposed to run actually, and how and where it is getting stopped, or what the problem is coming. In photocopier, it's like an electromechanical machine.
Yes.
Where most of the parts are moving, right? And when I was able to do that, I was able to visualize where the problem is actually happening, and I was able to draw a conclusion that the problem lies in this area, in this section, and I would take action to either remove some jams or replace the parts, identify where the problem is. And my diagnosis was very fast. And when diagnosis is very fast, obviously your action taken is very fast. You take quick action. You identify the part that is to be replaced, and then you replace the part and make the machine working.
Yeah.
So in service industry, if you see, downtime is very important. If the downtime is less, and if you close the call in the first visit, that was also very important. In those days, and even today also, in photocopier, there's something called the first time fix.
Yeah.
That you go to a photocopier, you go to a printing machine, and you fix the machine very first time that you go there.
Yeah.
So, and even today, the metric says that 85%, 90% target is there for engineers to go and fix the photocopier in first visit.
Yeah.
And if you can, of course, you don't carry much parts with you. You only do some preventive maintenance. You clean, you rearrange certain things, you refix certain things, and you fix the photocopier or the product. So that particular thing, I say, there's something that related to spatial intelligence, that something to sensory that we have. We have those skills are already in us. We just need to, take it in a positive way. In those times, we were not aware about all these terms. Later on, as we grow and we invested our journey in learning, relearning, or we can say re-engineering is the right word. After being an accidental engineer, we re-engineer our journey to be what we are today.
Absolutely.
So this is what I feel, that the current generation has to look within rather than look out. All the information today is available on the internet. Today you just have to click the right link and the right network to get information, which was not there in our times. We were just like, hungry for knowledge. We used to find books to read it. There were no videos, nothing was there.
Absolutely.
Now today the information is freely available.
Yeah, agree. I think you have reminded me to share my two experience, which I'm super excited to share with my audience. One incident, again, engineer in you. I think in 97, 98, I got back to Bhubaneswar from Mumbai. And those days we used to do our preventive maintenance schedule, right? Based on the usage pattern of the machine, we used to make our PM, right? Preventive maintenance schedule. So, and we used to do, okay, this machine is actually continuously working. So I think that needs, let's say, once in a month, right? Because we used to get that AMC, 10% of those, So I will tell one incident, currency counting machine. It was a heavy duty machine installed in Baripada, Mayurbhanj district of Odisha, around 260, 270 kilometers from Bhubaneswar. And I was in charge. So it was a preventive maintenance schedule. Those days, there was no mobile phone, right? We used to only call them. But when you go on preventive maintenance, we don't inform the customer that we are coming, right? So I remember I reached around 2:33 p.m. After the transaction hour. I just entered into the Bank of India, Baripada campus. And just before 2 minutes, the machine got broke down. And the head cashier saw me entering into the premises. He told me, Damodar, wow, our currency counting machine God has come. I mean, we used to get well respected by those industry those days, I'm talking 97, 98, right? Then he asked me, how did you know that this machine is going to break just in time? There's no technology. Then and he was super happy. He told, sir, you came all the way from Bhubaneswar, don't attend the machine, have lunch, drink juice, water, take rest in our transit house. All banks, currency chest, right? They have their guest house. Then you attend it. No, I said, no, I know that you have a usage pattern. So based on your usage pattern, I know that something may wrong today and it's happened. So let me attend the machine. So another incident, when I was in Hyderabad, 2003 or 4, State Bank of Hyderabad, one of the major account, right? And the same thing happened. Encoder, check clearing solutions. If one machine goes down, then the clearing will affect, right? Similar thing happened. So the moment me and one of my engineer went for a contract negotiation, I think machine failed, and then same thing they could ask. So we used to do the maintenance or the preventive maintenance schedule in such a way that it should be a uninterrupted, running. So we used to keep the machine downtime always minimum, right? We used to sign that contract 99.99, like we are talking today. These days we are talking about cloud uptime, a lot of other technology we are using it, but those days, machine downtime was a measure. If they can do penalize, I think, right? If they are not happy with your services, if you are not doing the preventive maintenance. So engineering you and the pleasure of going, attending, cleaning, maintaining the hygiene of the machine, and yeah, it was super. The respect used to get that. Super. I remember few instances people used to call, oh, he's the god of currency counting machine. This kind of respect people used to say. Because I think 94, 95 there was, or 90 till 96 there was a union. So people used to not getting into automation. Then after that, the moment they realize automation technology is the only way forward to do business in a better way and have better customer satisfaction, then all these things come. Then Y2K, we all know that, right? So I thought to share the two instance, which is very close to me, and I am really touched by what customers used to tell about us and our services and company. Yeah, Mushtaq.
Yes, sure.
So anything. I think one thing coming to mind. Learning is by doing. Unless until you dot your hand, you can't learn, right? So we used to say, first dot your hand, and then only you will learn it, right? You can't learn it theoretically, right? You have to do both.
Also one important thing is that the role that you have to accept, that when you choose a career, when we choose a career, it's like my request and suggestion to all of you, those who are choosing a career. See, career is not means to a livelihood.
Yeah.
It is what role that you play in that career is very important.
Correct.
Nowadays I do interview a lot of people. We have so many people, so many engineers on board. But people, for them, if you ask them what is the goal in life, what they want to do, they just have no clarity on that. They have done certain degrees, certifications that they have done, but what is the most important thing is that the role that they're going to play in an organization by applying the knowledge that is there. So in our case, we had that clarity in our mind. Like we are, as an engineer, we are supposed to solve the customer's problem correctly and instantly. That was the role, and we were enjoying our jobs, right?
And the passion, the passion, sorry to interrupt you, the passion you have. I remember Y2K time, we did a lot of upgrade machine, right? So that passion, even I remember working 24/7 in our office campus, hey, we have to do it. We have to hand over that machine to customer by tomorrow morning at, let's say 9 o'clock, right? The passion, the interest, and it was totally different. Yeah, I break your thoughts. Yeah.
It was because the role clarity that you had, because your existence in the organization, in the team, was that you are a problem solver. If you solve customers' problem, that's your role, correct? That's my role. And if I know I'm having clarity about my role, number one, if I accept my role, that this is my role, then automatically the output comes in. I put my heart and soul into it. Nowadays, people, they do engineering. If we ask them to work in the field, or if they ask them to work to solve problems, like we nowadays we solve customer problems in most of the cases, right? But when we solve customer problems, we have to communicate with the customer. We are a problem solver, but people want to run away from the problem. So if you run away from the problem, you have to solve a problem. You have to think of the challenge. You have to be a problem solver for the customer, correct?
Absolutely.
For the product. So that role, acceptance and the clarity of the role is very important. That we, of course, all the engineering is very vast. If you just say per se mechanical, electrical, computer science, and engineering is but what role that you are going to play in the organization, that if the clarity is given by the organization to the person who is actually joining them, and the person also accepts his wholeheartedly and take his a learning experience, because he is to apply all his knowledge into real-time situation and move ahead in his career. Of course, later on, when you feel that this is not a cup of tea, or you want to move ahead or move into different streams of engineering, like into production or into something else, then you can move ahead. But learning is always there in what you do if you have a clarity in the role.
Agree. So thank you, Mushtaq. I think, yeah, it's a nice discussion. So, guys, actually, we plan to have a series of sessions like this. And next session, most probably, will have service attitude. And one concluding thought, Mushtaq. Again, coming back to engineering you. I mean, tell to our audience, all the students coming out of college and they want to make their career in any corporate or in business or anything they want to do in their life. So what would be your concluding thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. Everybody is different. Everybody's thought process is different, and everybody's interest and likes are different. Don't go with what actually everybody is like. Don't become a sheep, where you just follow other people. You choose your own path. You spend some time. We spend so much of time in, so many things. And nowadays there is NEET and there is so many of CET available, that purely checks or test your knowledge, but they don't test your skills, right? So I think that each individual is different and should look into his interest and what he wants to do. There are so many psychological tests available online. Before deciding the career that you want to go into, you invest some of this test. You take this test not just once, do it multiple times. If I remember in my school, although my school was a very was a school that has affiliated with the UK, because it was this Ali Aga Khan school run by the trust. So they had some international links. So this also I discovered after 10 years of my education. So they were doing psychological tests at this point of time. And when I was just going through my documents, of the past, I somehow got that particular psychological test sheet with me, and they were having so many. They had conducted so many tests in our 10th standard only, in the early stage of the year, and they had some 4 or 5 tests that they were testing the learning ability. All predefined questionnaires. You have to select options: learning ability, abstract learning, abstract intelligence, spatial intelligence, mechanical aptitude. Then there was something called housekeeping was also part of it, like a subject where you have to keep things where actually it should be kept, something like something disciplinary, you can say. And there was a questionnaire about asking you your interest. Then they do a 5 minutes interview, one round of interview, final interview with you, going through your results. And then they suggested you, and that suggestion was given was a certificate that since you are interested in engineering. I said I want to become an engineer. So they asked me a question, which engineer? And I was not having any clarity on that point of time. So I was thinking like whether I should become electrical, mechanical. I was not even thinking of that. My goal was only to become an engineer. So then they actually educated me that there are so many streams in the engineering. There's electronics, there's electrical, there's mechanical. And I still remember, and I can read that in my psychological test, that they have recommended me to go for mechanical engineering. Maybe because I was good in that visualization, certain things would have come out in my test about the spatial intelligence, use memory and user reconstruct things to see the objects in all dimensions, 3D and all that. So, and if I see my career, I excelled as an engineer in mechanical products like electromechanical, like photocopier. I still am very fond of this machine. And I still sometimes take time to go with my colleagues for calls. And if they are stuck up in some kind of an issue, I just go there to observe how they do it. The more or less the dynamics are not, the mechanics are not changed in photocopier. It is more or less still 60% same product. Just enhancement has happened in the electronics part of it.
No, thank
So
you,
my
Mushtaq. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
my final parting words to the generation that is coming, that choose your career wisely and undergo multiple tests. This is all available online. You don't have to go anywhere. You not do it once and less like you once it comes to your liking, then you do it. No, you take multiple sources you try. There are so many sources, and then you come to a conclusion and involve your parents that this is what is your interest and pursue them. That and you can tell them that this is what your interest is and pursue the education of your liking. That will be a great success for you.
Thank you, Mushtaq. Yeah, great input. And I think we have time constraint today. So, guys, we will have another session called Service Attitude coming up next. And thank you, Mushtaq. Appreciate your time. You joined from Bangalore. And thank you once again. And look forward to connecting you again.
Sure. Looking forward to it, Damodar.
Thank
you. See you soon.
See you
Thank
soon.
you, all of you.
Yeah.
Have a great
Bye, guys.
year, all
Take
of you.
care. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody. Bye.
Same here. Bye.